And on what we are leading with on the morning call today is the attack of civilians by members of the ADF rebel group in Beni region of the Democratic Republic of Congo has been described as the worst so far in 2016. Now, with 42 people dead, local army spokesperson Mark Hazuke told journalists that such a raid was a retaliation of their operations in the area to get rid of the militant group.
A national mourning period was declared following the massacre that has angered the population who are demanding for their protection. This could be the worst massacre after a succession of attacks that caused several hundreds of deaths less than 2 years ago. Joining us now to discuss this issue is Mr. Bob Kabamba, a political analyst at the University of Liège in Belgium and a specialist in Central African affairs. Hello, Mr. Kabamba. How can we interpret this resurgence of violence in the region just a few days after President Joseph Kabila's visit?
Vous savez, pour bien comprendre ce qui se passe à Beni, il faut le mettre sur deux dimensions.
To clearly understand what's happening in Beni, it has to be put on two dimensions. At the national level, which means that for some time now, Beni focused on the tensions especially between the communities. The tensions were related to the political detention, related to the political candidature of former President of the Republic, Musa Nyamoti, a former ally of Kabila who went to exile in South Africa. And because of this, there's this opposition between the communities, at times leading to conflict and violence. This conflict leads us into the second dimension, the regional dimension. With the involvement of Ugandan rebels from the Allied Democratic Forces and refugees in the DRC who also belong to the group and also present in the region, the perpetrators of the Rwandan genocide were also present in the region. So the combination of the national and regional dimensions have largely contributed to this wave of violence that doesn't really explain who does what and who is behind this violence that is contrary to the people of Beni.
Qui fait quoi et qui est l'auteur de ces différents crimes qui sont en train d'être commis à l'encontre de la population de Beni.
The international community has not reacted on the matter. Why is this and how comes very little is known about Beni?
Plusieurs dimensions sont à souligner par rapport à votre question. Il y a dans un premier temps la question de l'éloignement de Beni.
To answer your question, first there's the issue of Beni being distanced by the media. Beni is not Goma, and Goma is closer to Rwanda. And we know the Rwandan news with its historical past of the genocide. So that when it comes to addressing these issues on Goma, all international media are alerted. But since Goma is quite far from, since Beni is quite far from Goma, it's not given the same kind of attention. So all this has made it impossible for the area to receive international attention. On the other hand, there's also another dimension regarding the MONUSCO, which is widely present in the region of Goma. For reasons I already mentioned earlier, it is less present in the North Kivu region, and thus this explains that MONUSCO does not necessarily act whenever there are massacres. The civil society has said on several occasions it tried to alert the MONUSCO when there was violence and MONUSCO was not responding. This is related to the presence of some troops who are in the north, and so they don't have the power to address the different armed groups present in Beni. All this combined, one has the impression that Beni is abandoned. And then it is not 600 deaths. There are still reports from the Human Rights Watch and the International Crisis Group who talk about over 2,000 deaths since October 2014 to date.
Qui parle quand même de plus de 2000 morts depuis octobre 2014 jusqu'à présent. On a décompté plus de 2000 morts dans cette région.
Thank you, Monsieur Bob Kabamba. He's a specialist within the Central African Republic matters.